And we're live, Jim.
Hey, everybody.
Hey guys, we're here for the live Sell More Book Show episode. Our first live online show, we'll say.
That's right. Is anybody actually here? I can't see if there's people in the room.
Let's see. There are 21 people here. So, hey everybody, comment in the chat to let us know you're here. We would love to give you a shout out on the air. Daniel Martone is here.
I'm Shoddy. That's the hustler.
I thought it was the other way around, but I'm fine with that.
Okay. Oh, you really thought it was the other way around?
Well, I'm short, so
Okay. Is that what that meant, Shoddy? I don't even know.
that's what I think. I think it means. Hey, to Stephanie, to Leslie, to Laura, to Donna from Denver, Wes, Scott, Sharon, Brian, and Phil. We're so happy to have you guys here because you and many of your Patreon fellows, they said, hey, we want to contribute to this live show. Let's do it. And so now we have a live real-time show. And Jim didn't know he was going to be on camera until just a minute before I started the call.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for the camera shot today, so.
Yeah, but you guys in the chat, you let us know if you think Jim looks like a 10 or an 11. And at the same time, let us know if you have any questions. Daniel says that Joanna Penn should be here because someone needs to do the heckling. So let's
talk. And you got a wig?
Ooh, I don't have a wig. But I could wear my cat on my head.
Yeah, where is Rocket? Does Rocket get to make an appearance?
Rocket could make an appearance. Rocket, I closed the door so for better sound purposes.
Yeah,
but
I want to see Rocket.
Okay, in a later, the end of the call, I'll get Rocket,
okay,
and
good.
we'll make sure that everybody gets to see Rocket. And Daniel would pay extra to see Rocket as my wig. So on the 11 or 10 question, I just wanted to point out, Stephanie says you look like an 11. Donna, an 11 and a half. Phil says, forget 10 or 11. He looks like a hitman, which is awesome. And yeah, and everyone wants to see Rocket. People are noting Rocket.
So what's the format for this show, Brian?
So here's what we're going to do for this show. I would like everyone to post your questions in the comment section. If you're listening to this on the iTunes feed, you will not see these questions, but we will say them out loud, of course. And we will answer your questions, but we're also happy to talk about where the Sell More Book Show has been, where it's gone, some of the stories that maybe have been our favorites if we kind of run out of questions to answer. But we have 2 questions in. Please feel free to share your questions now. Jim, do you want to read this question from Lavi?
Yes, it says, I'm writing a book about the work-life balance for dads. Should I get it out ASAP or wait until close to Father's Day 2017? You know the answer to that question. The answer to that question is get it out now. You can't wait. A year would be a disaster. Get it out now, and heck, start promoting it. Get it ready for the promotion for 2017. You got to get it out now.
I agree with Jim. I mean, Lavi, I know I've worked on a bunch of your descriptions. I know your books are strong content, but they're not super long. I think that you could, if you really set a really hard deadline for yourself, you can accomplish this. And you know, if you got just 3 weeks to do something, you'd be surprised if you force yourself to work on it every day to see what you can accomplish. I'm working on some tough projects like that right now.
I would say, Lavi, that Father's Day here in the United States is 2 weeks away or so. I'd say get it out for 2016.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so too.
Try it.
Yeah. I agree.
Here's an
So great answer from us. We're doing great already.
Here's an interesting question.
Yes.
When can I expect a book from co-written by Brian and Jim? And
This
we've
is a great
never
question.
talked about that, Brian, have we?
No, we never have. But
No.
but I actually did think of I think, you know how we had the 75 tips and tricks book?
Yeah.
We actually got a slight bit of hate mail this week. Did you see that?
Yeah. Somebody didn't like the book. Yeah.
Somebody didn't like that we replaced it with a cheat sheet, and they didn't like the cheat sheet.
Oh.
They thought that they were going to get this amazingly huge thing, and they felt cheated. They felt cheated from the cheat sheet.
Now, when we say book, it wasn't really a book anyway. It was a PDF.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's what they used to be. But here's my thought. I think that you and I should collect some of our tips and maybe and put out a book on Amazon with some of the tips, because I've seen books like that do well. I know that geez, what was his name? A Side Hustle Nation guy. The name's not coming to me, but
Loper?
Yeah, Nick Loper. He put together a book like that with some of the resources from another podcast, and the book actually did pretty well. So,
okay, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I think it would be really fun to put that together, and it's another source of lead generation for the show. And Laura's also boo hissing. She wanted more from the cheat sheet. Well, Laura, the problem is you already know what you're doing. A lot of people don't know what they're doing, and so they looking through this big book of tips, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to try all of them," and that's not necessarily the best thing to do. The cheat sheet says, like, start your email list, do your thing, and I think that it was an effort to help the community at large to change it, but maybe we should give more people the option of testing between the two of them, or just having a book that we put together. So
yeah, you know, Laura and Dan are married, so
yeah. So Laura actually has the book. Laura still loves us, so that's good.
Good to see you guys here. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, right back at you guys. So Chris asked, so they felt they got cheated from a free email opt-in that mentioned the cheat sheet. They did. They were expecting more. They said it ruined their day. And I think that I think that you should just take things as they come. Don't let a cheat sheet ruin your day.
I won't be so nice. It's a free thing. If you didn't like it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't intended to be this guide that was going to change your life. So I'm sorry. I'm in a little bit of rant on that person. Hopefully they're here. They can defend themselves, but it's a free thing. If you didn't like it, fine. What do you want us to do about it? Yeah.
And that's the thing. We've got hours and hours, probably close to 100 hours of free content on the show that people can listen to for maybe the advanced stuff. And Lee notes here, it's easier to focus on the new writer when considering content, because it's harder to come up with stuff for the writers who are already in the weeds. And well,
let's get some of these questions, Brian.
Yeah, definitely. Although Chris is excited, hopes that you will rant. We'll try to make sure there's some more rant-worthy stuff here today.
I'm angry. Let's go.
Okay. So Stephanie notes that she's enjoying the lab features, so please do more. We're enjoying them too, Stephanie. We're trying to get more and more of those lab features in there. We even have something with me and an experiment in a couple of weeks. I haven't even had a chance to tell Jim about it. So we'll talk about that during today's show in a little bit, because there's an exciting project I'm working on.
Before you continue,
yeah.
Can people hear the sound effects? Can everybody hear the applause here?
Yeah, let us know if you can hear the sound effects, because Jim wants to use 100 of them. Was that like applause in water? I don't know what that was.
Oh, you can hear it. Ooh.
Yeah. Woo. Everyone hears the sound effects, and they're all very happy about it.
If we were in the room together and I was ranting against that guy, I'd be doing that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. It didn't ruin my day.
Every time I do that, I want you to flinch like Rocky Balboa and Rocky 1,
okay,
right?
You got it. Oh. That's my Rocky impersonation. Adrian, I did it. Okay. So Pete asked, how is the test of shortening your books going? Can you share a little bit about the process and or results? So Pete's referring to, a while back, I was talking about trying to write shorter books and seeing, what people thought about that, and if it was a problem. Well, first and foremost, I will say I do have some shorter nonfiction books in mind that I've been wanting to write on book descriptions and whatnot. And those shorter books, I know that Chris Fox and I chat a bit, and he's done really well with these 20,000 word books. So I think there are certain genres that really take well to the short books. But I wrote a shorter book for the 5th book in my series, Veiled to the Chief. Most of my books were 70 to 80,000 words. This book was 53,000 words. I received 0 complaints about the book being short. 0 complaints. So I think that, especially with an established series, unless your readers really expect 100,000, 120,000, you can cut it 20% and people will not mind. Now, I will say that was probably one of the tightest, best books I've written. So there wasn't any really, there people didn't feel like I padded the story or anything. It was fast paced. People really liked it. And so I think that writing shorter books in certain genres will do well. And I think everyone should test it at least once, because if you can get your readers to get used to reading shorter books, and I priced it at the same point, I believe, at $3.99, which is the same price as my other books. And it sold just as well as my 4th book when I released it. Now, I don't think my 4th and 5th book have sold as well as my first 3. And that was after leaving KU and losing and not really capitalizing on that first 90-day cliff, which is why I am trying a new experiment with a new genre. We'll get to some more questions, but then I'll tell you guys all about that, because that's a new experiment. And Stephanie says my sci-fi is long, my mysteries are shorter. Yeah, I think mystery authors are into the shorter. Their mystery readers are okay with shorter books. And then Laura says, OMG, our books are way too long. And Lee says my Rocky impersonation was pretty convincing. So, for what that's worth. Daniel asked how many books you would write in a series before releasing them. Jim, I know we've seen a lot of stories on this with the show. Do you think, like, having seen people try to release 5 at once, try to release 3 at once, like, do you think there's any patterns there that people should take in, or should people just experiment, or what?
I think, if you're thinking of it in terms of what I can understand, as somebody who hasn't written series of books, I can understand it in a series of maybe courses or products online.
Mm-hmm.
And the internet marketing funnel is, the process is you want to have a first product that you can give away.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to have something else that people can purchase, right? So to properly do that funnel correctly, you need at least 2 pieces. To do it better, you need at least 3 pieces. So you need 3 pieces of content up front, and then you need the hopefully 2 or the second or the third piece that you can sell to somebody. And now, could it be done with more than that? Yeah, because you could give away the first one for free and then sell all 2, 3, 4, 5 in a box set, or whatever.
And we just covered, you guys won't know this because this happens in the future, but we had on today Michael Lister, who is an author who's been writing since 1997, who, because he was able to get his rights back, he was able to put 6 books into a box set, and that's not even all of his books. So that and he was doing a BookBub this week. So his funnel has like over 10 pieces, and because he has more, he has more flexibility with it.
And you bring a good point, because you got to admit that BookBub probably chose him because he's selling 6 books for 99 cents.
Yeah.
That's a great deal, right? So BookBub's probably like, wow, people are really going to jump all over this. So, the more the better, maybe. But I think the magic number is probably 3.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is tough when you're, like Lee says, when you're just starting out. You hope that you have something in the genre you want to spread the word for, because it sucks to try to start from scratch. And as an author who's going to start a new series in a different genre, it does suck because I kind of have to start just mentally a little bit from scratch. So I think that is a challenge that new authors have to overcome. But do you want to follow the successful guidelines that someone like Lindsay Baroker, I assume Daniel is mentioning here, is about to release 3 sci-fi books at once? When you see someone successful doing something, model it. I mean, you've seen 20 years of people modeling good ideas and having success.
On the internet, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I think of that question?
That's like applause then drowned out by water.
We have more questions. Let's do it.
We do have more questions. So Wes was asking if he wondered if we knew anything about email delivery changes with Gmail, Yahoo, and AOL, because it's affecting the delivery of his newsletter. Jim, I know you know email lists inside and out. Have you noticed anything or tried anything to improve your deliverability?
Yeah, so what you should know is that the filters are constantly changing between Hotmail and Yahoo and Gmail and all these guys, and they all have their own rules. The spammers, it's Stephen King, The Stand, right? You've got one side and the other side. The spammers trying to beat the email side people, and all the technicians are in the middle trying to appease everybody. And it's a constantly moving target. My best advice to you is to go with a good provider like AWeber that has good relationships with the people who control those things, and your deliverability will stay high. My worst advice for you is to send emails from your own server, which is a huge mistake, because then your IP will get on one of those blacklisted things. But MailChimp's another one.
There's
probably 100, maybe more. You definitely want to stick with a provider that has good relationships and the deliverability, and ask them. If you're going to sign up with somebody, go, I want to see how your deliverability goes against your competitors, and see if they give you an answer. But yeah, it's something that changes all the time. My wife had just called me today, as a matter of fact, and said that she had been sending emails to PTA moms in her school, and a bunch of them have been going into spam in the last week. And I said, well, Gmail or Hotmail probably changed some filters.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that is a pain. I think that that's why using a premium tool, and even if you're using MailChimp, the free version, I still would consider that a premium tool. I think that you want to use the best tools possible because they'll help upgrade your business.
For sure.
And Wes' follow-up question asked, I was told to get a domain registered or something. Is this free? If not, how much does it cost? I assume this might mean because the email he's using in MailChimp might be a free domain, like a Gmail. And so you need an email from a more legitimate domain to improve deliverability.
No, that's not necessarily true. As a matter of fact, some would argue that you get better deliverability with a Gmail or a Hotmail than some unknown domain on some unknown IP address. You know, one of the things that when you go buy a domain name, you say you buy it with Bluehost or somebody, they sometimes recycle IP addresses. So this happened to me.
I had this happen.
Happened to me. So they gave me an IP address from somebody who was added. The IP was added to a spam list. And every time I sent email from my server, it would go into spam because it was on the spam list. And I freaked out about it. I was very upset about it. So that can happen.
This happened with my course. A lot of students couldn't get emails, new students joining the course, even old students who'd been receiving email from my course before. When I moved over to a new server to try to speed things up, Bluehost didn't tell me that I would have a new IP. They told me actually I wouldn't have a new IP. And the sales guy obviously didn't know what he was talking about. So I had to do all this stuff, jump through all these hoops. It was a real pain in the butt. Yep, exactly. Vinny's in the house and says there is he says there's a setting Gmail made last week and there's an excellent article on Feed Blitz about it. Vinny, if you know that article, feel free to post it here because that might help out Wes.
You have to read all Vinny's questions in a Brooklyn accent.
Okay.
Which I can't do. I once, for fun, told Vinny I thought he was from Queens, and he got all offended. We go way back. We go 10 years plus. So, good to see you, Vin. And
Vinny did post that article, Wes. So if you want to check that out, you can. And I hope it's not too fear-mongery, but because I worry sometimes those articles.
Vinny only provides real deal stuff.
Real deal stuff? Okay. Great. Good work. Cool. Okay. Moving on. Ian asked a question. Why is it so hard to find some? And if anyone has more questions, feel free to ask them here.
I want. We're going to see Rocket.
Yeah, we're going to see Rocket. You're going to see Rocket. Ian asked, why is it so hard to find someone in the publishing industry to sit up and take notice of an author with 70-odd 5-star reviews on a self-published work? That's an interesting question. Why won't, let's say Ian is submitting queries and says, look at all these great reviews I have on my books, and they don't seem to care. What is your reaction to that, Jim?
Because most of them are lazy and have relied on agents for far too long and don't really, they're not hustlers.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. They are not hustlers. Hustler, they're not shoddy in the hustler. They're not getting up every morning and like, you know, at the end, end of the world is coming and we better find the next best authors. It's like, maybe we'll go through some of these letters. You know, I'm assuming that's what's going on at these mahogany dust syndrome places. They're just like, oh, look, let's look. We got a stack of 100 queries today. Oh, have the intern look at those. We're going to have lunch and they'll let us know, you know, that person who's got the literary fiction degree from Yale, have them look at the query letters, and if they think one of them's good, maybe we'll reach out. And you know, that's what I think's going on. I could be completely wrong. Maybe they are hustling. Maybe they just haven't chosen you. But that's what I think's happening.
And I think an important thing to consider, Ian, is if you were able to get 70 reviews, that means you can probably get more. That means you could probably keep pushing, build it as part of a series, get a lot of reviews, get consideration from some of the promotion companies like a BookBub or an e-reader News Today, and you can have more success with your indie stuff than you would have had potentially with your traditionally published stuff. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise that traditional publishing hasn't taken notice of you. So yeah. Phil had a question. Boom. That was
React. There we go. Good.
Sorry. My bad. Let's see. Phil asked, I heard author Marie Force in an older Mark Dawson podcast say that she sees little reason to put a lot of effort into marketing 1 or 2 books. She advises waiting until you have 5 or 6 books. What do you think? I think there's 2 answers for this for me, but I want to hear Jim's answer first.
Laura's right. More sound effects and more rocket.
All right. Well, Jim, if you agree to take a minute to answer this question, I'll bring in rocket.
Okay, what was the question again?
Marie Force said you shouldn't bring out you shouldn't even market until you have 5 or 6 books because there's no point in marketing just 1 or 2. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, look, I like the idea of having a couple books out to do it. I think it makes much more business sense to have that marketing funnel where you can sell more books in that manner than just doing 1. So I think, you know, you can have a better chance of having success if you do that. So absolutely. Does that mean that you can't do it by just putting 1 book out? No. Oh, look, what do we got?
You got Rocket. Rocket.
Hey, Rocket.
She doesn't see the screen really. She's happy to be here, of course.
Rocket, what's up?
Hey, Rocket. Rocket does not like being picked up. Rocket is not a fan of being picked up.
Oh, really? Why does Rocket look so big? Rocket looks like he weighs like 100 pounds.
Rocket actually lost weight. We went to the vet recently. She had fattened up a little bit, but Rocket lost a pound this year. So, yeah. You want to see Rocket really big? There's Rocket, 2,000 pounds.
Well, now we know that this video will hit millions of views on YouTube because we have
exactly. I'm gonna put Rocket on the desk and see if she hangs around for a bit.
She might.
Yeah, she might. She's actually looking for a way off. So she's behind.
Rocket just looks huge. I don't think that's mean. Maybe it's just the camera angle.
Yeah. Rocket is watching like an audience member would now over here.
Thank you, Rocket.
Rocket's enjoying it. What was your answer to the question, Jim?
My answer was, I think it's smarter to do it with multiple books, but it certainly can be done with 1 book.
Yeah. And I mean, someone mentioned earlier about how Chris Fox was able to do things with just 2, was able to put out a shorter book and a very targeted, and we had him as a presenter for the lab segment, and he had 1 book very much written to market, and he had a shorter book to get people to join his mailing list. That was it, and he made 10 grand that month. So I mean, there's not one way. There's not one way to do things. I think Marie Force is doing the right thing by encouraging people to. I don't think Rocket's going to make another appearance. Rocket is gone. Rocket has left the building. Rocket's seeing if she can fit through the door to get out.
Oh.
But she cannot. So maybe she is 100 pounds. Chris used KU, as Stephanie is mentioning here, and Rocket got out. Rocket did it. Round of applause for Rocket.
Hold on.
I hope you guys enjoyed Rocket's appearance. I know that on the audio version, this all just sounded like nonsense. But yeah, I think that Chris was able to do this with 2 books and some very targeted kind of promotions. He connected with people in his genre, which is something everybody should try to do. He wrote very specifically to the tropes of the genre. He spent money on a cover that looked like the genre. He wanted to appeal to those genre readers. And if you can do that, you can potentially get sales without having 5 or 6 books. So it depends on what you're willing to work on. Are you willing to work on getting the marketing just right? Or would you rather write 5 or 6 books? And if you do both, I mean, maybe you can make even a bigger killing. But Daniel's right. His list specifically for his for the series was not very big when he launched the book. So it wasn't just because he had a big list. It was he marketed well. He was smart. He did what needed to be done for a genre specific book. So lots of clapping. So let's see. Wes had a question earlier, and it was touched upon a little bit in the comments, but Daniel wants me to make my announcement. I will after this question. Wes is a British horror author, but some American readers are claiming my spellings of color, COLOUR, etc., are incorrect, affecting my overall rating on Amazon. Any tips? These are stupid readers. I mean, don't readers know some words have different spellings in different locations? I don't know what Mark Dawson does. I'm not sure if he spells with Americanized versions or UK spellings. But what I would do, if I were you, Wes, I'd go pick up one of Mark Dawson's books, see what he does, and then do exactly what he does. Because if he's one of the most successful British authors in thriller writing right now. So obviously you want to just do what he's doing.
Here's what I would do. And then I would do this.
Hey, hello, wait, I'm trying to talk here, but I'm being punched in the face.
Wait a minute, you sound like Russell Brand.
I'm British.
You sound just like Russell Brand in, what's the movie in Hawaii?
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Oh.
I'm Aldous Snow.
I'm Aldous Snow. Okay. Even Laura, who said more sound effects, is sighing at your use of sound effects. I just wanted to point that out.
Pure gold, Laura.
Pure gold. And Lee, who is British, writes in American English and has an American editor to make sure nothing slips through. So it's true. The UK is not as big a market as the US. So you need to write to the US market, since that's where most of the people are. That's what I would do. But as a second thing, I would say go check out what Mark is doing. And Vinny's watching our sound effects on a 50-inch with surround sound. So he's getting scared. And Sharon asks, and this is a really good consideration, isn't the answer to the question genre specific? Readers within different genres have different expectations. I write books that take several months of research before writing history, genealogy. I don't think the readers expect 2 or more books to be released in a short period of time. Oh, so this is the previous one. I agree that I don't think certain genres, I think nonfiction tends to not be as quick, but look at one of the best-selling nonfiction authors in the biz, Steve Scott. And Steve Scott has many, many books as parts of many series. And he has done spectacularly. So, and they're also very short. So, yes, it's true that certain genres are going to have different expectations and won't anticipate that you're going to release books sooner. But you're going to have to market the heck out of those books to make sure you get your people. And if you don't have the ability to market the heck out of those books, then you probably need some shorter, bite-sized nonfiction that will get more sales so that you can pay for the editing for your passion projects of these longer nonfiction books.
Well, I look at it this way. You said, I don't think readers expect 2 or more books to be released in a short period of time. And I would say maybe not yet, but that is where everything is trending. If you look at Netflix, if you look at all media, you will see that people want everything in binges. Right? If you get into something, a video game on your phone, you want to go binge into the next one. And that's why you'll pay 99 cents to binge right into it. If you read a story that was so good and I have your attention, right? And then I offer you $2.99 to continue reading the next story, you're going to pay for it. And that is a better marketing sell than, oh, well, get it on my email list, or, you see what I'm trying to say? I think that the mindset of consumers is switching to the binge mentality for media. And I think that in the future, that's what's going to be better for authors if you have more options for them. The number one rule for internet marketing, not the number one, but one of the top 10 rules was always you wanted to be able to sell somebody something immediately after they bought it. So one of the things that people would do is they give you another offer after you purchased. So you could upsell them before they bought, right? And then you could upsell them after. And they found that 35% of people would actually purchase and put their credit card in again after they just did it. So people, and combine that with what's going on with the world nowadays, I think that people do want that binge. And I think that people are going to change to be expecting content to be lumped together so they can get it all at once, because people are so busy. They don't have time to sit around and wait 6 months for something. I mean, if I had the choice right now of watching Better Call Saul or whatever, all in one sitting, they get, like, let's say they did 7 seasons, and I could either say I'd rather could I watch it over a 7-season period, or could I watch it all at once? I would actually prefer they just gave it all to me at once. Like, I would wait 7 years and just watch it all at once, because I think it's more enjoyable to get it all at once as opposed to waiting. Just don't like waiting. Nobody likes to wait anymore.
Yeah. My wife and I just got HBO Now, and we've been binging on a variety of shows that we wouldn't have watched otherwise, and it's so nice to have them all together. And now we've caught up almost. We're within 2 episodes of catching up on Silicon Valley, starring Amy's former sublet Thomas Middleditch, who she subletted a room from back in 2007 in Chicago. Now that we're caught up, it's like, oh, we have to wait another week. And so you get used to it. You get used to the binging. And we're definitely, we're in a show hole, a book hole, as Scott says. So Laura, name dropper. Yeah, pretty funny. So Laura had a question about book length. RE audience expectations. How do you feel about the first of an urban fantasy series being much longer than the subsequent books? In other words, should all the books in a given series be roughly the same length? Lee had some points about this, saying that the urban fantasy genre is around 75,000 words, but I think you can speak to this, Jim.
Well, it's expectations.
Yeah.
So, all right. So if I wrote a book that was 10,000 words, and then the second book, or I wrote a book that was 100,000 words, and then the second book was 10,000 words, I'm going to be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So it's just expectations. Start thinking in terms of expectations of a customer. You're selling a product. It's a book. It's no different than selling a widget. You have to imagine what the customer is going to say when they get the product. I would think it makes sense for each book to be the same length, right? So there's consistency in the story and the length of the book, so that they feel like they're getting what they want. But yeah, fluctuating the lengths, having one book shorter. The worst thing that you can happen is when someone buys something from you, is that they can go, what the hell was that? Right? Or they get upset, like, why did I what did you sell me, right? Because then they want a refund or whatever, and they're not happy with you, and they never buy from you again. So it's all about making the expectation for the customer.
Yeah, and Chrissy made a really interesting point, saying that Wool, which is Hugh Howey's first book in that series, is shorter than the other books. I think starting like Daniel says, starting short and going longer is better.
Well,
establish an expectation that, okay, this is shorter. Oh, I'm getting more. That's great. Versus starting big and then going small.
This is the overpromise or underpromise and overdeliver, right? Go to a restaurant, and the smartest thing they can do when it's busy and they tell you it's going to be an hour and it's really only going to be half an hour, because that buzzer goes off. You're like, oh my God, we're early. They got us half an hour early. How exciting. We get to sit down half an hour early. It's the same exact psychological thing going on in a person's brain. Give them a short book and then give them something that's even better, longer, and they're going to be like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And Brian asked about my wrist brace. This is just for my carpal tunnel. So
I thought you were going bowling later.
Yeah. I actually also, until recently, until it just fell off, I had a Band-Aid on my hand from burning my hand last night. So burned hand, carpal tunnel. I pulled an ab muscle yesterday. I'm falling apart, Jim.
Is it true that Rocket is an animatronic cat and you control him through that wrist brace that you have on?
Yeah, it's called the glaive, and I bring the cat towards me. Right. No, we're in control. We're in the control of the cat. The cat controls us.
It's for Laura said it's for your falcon. Yeah. Where does your falcon
come to me? My falcon is named Jim. Come to me, Jim Kukrow.
I have to rush the sound effect.
Yeah. Find that. So okay. Wes had a question. Laura, thanks so much. Daniel said I'm a mess. And Laura said a cute mess. Thanks so much. So there's the falcon. Come, Jim. Come to my hand. And we will hunt. We will hunt game.
Wait, that's a bad one.
The wild game of self-publishing. So I definitely feel like Les Nessman for sure, Brian. That's good. That's good. It's coming from Cleveland. It's coming from all the way from Cleveland. That's why it sounds so far away.
And Rocket, not so good together.
Yeah. They don't get along.
The good thing is the Rocket left the room so the Falcon could come in.
Yeah. #tangent. Okay. Wes asked a quite personal question for authors. How much do you earn monthly from Daniel thinks we're going to edit? That's really funny. This episode. That's hilarious, Daniel. Wes asked, how much do you earn monthly from royalties? And that's an interesting question I wonder if anyone wants to comment on that. I know it's a personal question. I know personally, my monthly income from my books has really ranged a lot over the course of my career. I've had low months, less than a couple $100. I've had really high months, over $3,000, maybe even closer to $4,000 when you throw in paperbacks. But I think that there's a lot of authors who've written in more popular genres than me that probably do a lot better and that are absolutely killing it every single month. And Lee says he makes about as much from a day job as his fiction. Some months double his wages, 1 month $7K. And Wes asks a follow-up question on that, but we'll get into that in a second. Jim, do you want to touch on maybe what you've heard or what you've had months-wise? I know you haven't written anything new in a while.
No, and I never made money from my books. That was, I wrote nonfiction books, and one of them was traditionally published. The rest were self-published, and I never really tried to make money from books. I made money from consulting. I will tell you that I've made over $500,000 over a 10-year period from consulting from books. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the consulting's done well, but selling actual books, absolutely not. So,
Yeah.
I think the more important question is how much, and Lee brought that up, is how much did you make based upon how much you wanted to earn, based upon you still had a job or whatever. Was it 80% of your income? Is it 20% of your income? Is it a replacement for your income? I think that's a more interesting question than exactly how much money do you make per month, because it's different for everybody. Some people might need to make 10 grand a month or 50 grand a month to survive, and some people might need to make 1,000.
Yeah.
All depending on what you need to make.
Yeah, it's all very relative. I mean, I'm in a 2-income household. It'd be different in a 1-income household. It'd be different in a 3-income household, or one person who's doing exceptionally well. And I think that these are all things to keep in mind. So I think that's a really good point. Wes asked, do you notice a trend with the higher earning months? Personally, my trend on higher earning months is I did something. Like I did a major promotion, or I ran one of my multi-author Facebook events, or I lucked into getting a book bub, or I not lucked into. I mean, all the book bubs I've gotten, I've worked really hard to get them, but all this, all the months I've had that are exceptional were usually the result of me busting my butt and doing a lot of hard work and then seeing it pay off.
That's why they call you the hustler.
That is. I guess I am the hustler then. I still always thought I was Shorty.
Why didn't we do Facebook Live instead? We could have tried that. Maybe our next time we'll try that.
I want to try something new definitely in the future. There were a lot of suggestions here and there, but I decided to I know how to use this program really well because I do a lot of webinars. So figured this was the way.
Well, Brian, we're getting close to the end here. So
man, that's so sad.
Is there anything else we want to do?
I have to make a announcement since I was kind of hinting at things. And Brian said, "Hey, you guys should check out the Sell More Books show." And he says, "Just joshing. Love you guys." And there are a couple other questions here, but I want to get this in. So I am working with Chris Fox on some things, on a project right now. And one of those projects involves me writing my books faster. And I think that Chris is really the top dog in writing books faster. He's written 5,000 words per hour, a lot of great stuff. He's come on the show. He's shown that you can write a book fast and succeed. And so I've been working with him. We're friends. I want to learn from him, and we're going to work together on some things. And one project is I want to try to do what Chris did with a genre-specific book. And so I am going to write fiction under a pen name to experiment with a new subgenre at some point in the next few months. I have started working on a novella, and that will lead into the novel. And so it'll essentially be, I'll have the same kind of setup as Chris, and it is not dinosaur porn. It is actually a fairy tale fantasy, like fairy tale retellings. And I'm writing under a pen name, and I think it's going to be awesome. I'm very excited about it. And I am, Laura said, it's not dinosaur porn. And I am dictating the series. So I will be dictating the entire thing.
That's very cool. Congrats.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it.
Should be pretty neat. You missed Rocket.
Yeah, Linda missed Rocket. Sad. Because she just got
the hustler, Brian. I mean, honestly, you are doing stuff to really try and make stuff work, and I know a lot of people on this call, in this video, are doing that as well. So you guys got to go out there and try. You never know. The next thing might be the next big, huge thing that you do and turn into the next, whoever. So I would say that take Brian's example and do that. Now, I don't hustle as much as I used to. I used to hustle a lot more. But nowadays I'm just kind of maintaining my one thing. But I used to be doing what Brian did, and it pays off. It really does.
Yeah. I think that I'll definitely document what's happening on the show. I have an idea for a lab segment coming up that's going to detail one of the promotional methods I plan on using to build up a new list right at the beginning. That'll be June 8th or so, I believe. Or no, that'll be in July. My bad. So that'll be July 5th or so. And we'll do a segment on that promo method to build up my list. And I think that it's scary because I'm nervous writing in a new genre. I was comfortable in my genre of the young adult superhero, but it was not selling that well. And Daniel asked if I was going to try rebranding. And I think that it makes sense for Joanna to rebrand in an already very popular genre. But for me, it didn't make sense to buy all the new covers and try that. So I definitely think that to push into a new genre, to try it out, to go with a gender neutral pen name, so people don't know if I'm a guy or a girl, in a genre that's probably more purchased by women and written in by female authors. I think it'll be interesting to experiment. I hope it goes well. I have no inclinations that it will go well as Chris's did. Chris's experiment was out of control, successful. I believe he's still in the Amazon top 1,000.
Or it's going to go 100 times better.
Or it could go 100 times better.
I don't know.
But, I think that regardless, it's exciting to try new things. And that's one of our biggest things we talk about on the show is trying new things. And so every little bit you try, every new thing you give a shot to, you don't know if it's going to work or not, but it's better than doing nothing. Come to me, bird Jim Kukrow, all the way from Cleveland.
How does that bird get in and out? Is there a window right there?
Special roof entrance just for the bird.
Aren't you worried about that ceiling fan? I see the shadow with the bird flying around the room.
Jim Kukrow can handle it. Jim Kukrow has master maneuverability. Oh no, it got caught in the fan. Oh my gosh.
Now it's just rotating through animal sound effects. This is the random animal sound effect part of the show.
Oh my gosh.
You have a panther?
Yeah. Don't you? Doesn't every self-publishing pundit have a panther? Phil says more applause, less falcon.
Oh, you want more applause?
Final questions were Linda's afraid. Linda's afraid, by the way.
Of the falcon? Why are you afraid of the falcon? Are you small enough that the falcon can pick you up?
I mean, Jim Kukrow, the falcon, can handle all humans in its talons.
And falcon couldn't pick up Rocket.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Rocket's a fighter. So
I'm making fun of his cat.
Yeah. So Donna asked, what kind of Facebook promotions do you do? And personally, I've done Facebook giveaways on Facebook, linking to a King Sumo giveaways page. And I've done just pushing to a landing page, because that's one of the big things in my Selling for Authors course, talking about getting the system all set up, having a Facebook page, a Facebook ad that's well written, pushes to a landing page, and gets people to sign up for your email list. Jim, I know you've done a lot of Facebook ads in the past.
I have, but not for books.
Yeah.
I do a lot of Facebook ads for political stuff and products and everything. So I've had a lot of success with those, but not specifically for books.
Any tips though on just getting people to join a list through Facebook or getting them interested in a higher end product?
The best tip on Facebook is to target the most appropriate places. Make sure you have the best target you can possibly get it down as deep as you can get it, and have a specific ad for that audience. If they are 25-year-old Christian singles living in Omaha, then you want to target an ad specifically to those people. That's the best advice you can get. And if that means you got to create 100 different ads for 100 different target markets with 100 different graphics and headlines, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And
which costs money.
It's time and money, right? You can hire a firm to do it for you, or you do it yourself. And I actually hire people out to do my Facebook ads because it's a lot of work to set it all up and track it and get it all going. But you could learn how to do it on your own. How much you want to hustle, right? How much you want to hustle? Do you want to watch Game of Thrones, or do you want to spend an hour reading some really boring article on Facebook pixels? Do you want to, go fishing or go for a boat ride or go for a run? Or do you want to sit in your office and learn about what best images work on Facebook ads? It's up to you, right? It's all about the hustle and what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. Daniel and Lee say, oh, I've heard the Facebook ad results are slowing down. Well, everything's gonna, you can't always get the exact same results always at all times. But if you're listening to Mark Dawson's podcast, Self-Publishing Formula, and you listen to his monthly income reports, I think that he's obviously still doing well off of them. He still turns a profit almost every month, and he spends a lot of money on ads. So I think that some people are going to do well, some people aren't, and that's how it goes. But I think that when you are when you hear people saying, oh, this doesn't work as well as it used to, there's a possibility. There's two possibilities. One is a bunch of people have tried it, not gone at it 100%, and as a result, they've stunk at it. And then they say, oh, well, it's not working. And then people hear it's not working, and then they only kind of half-ass it, and then they don't have success with it. And so the rumor spreads. Or the second thing is maybe it is losing a little juice, but it is still the number one way to target people. And Vinny points out just a great thing here. Facebook ads are not dying, just a lack of targeting. Like Jim said, sometimes you need 100 targets, 100 images to find the right one, and then you kick its butt. And Wes had, I think what'll be the... I think that's just a person getting water poured on them. Didn't sound like applause to me. Wes said, final question. I think it will be our final question because we're coming up on an hour. Any odd or unknown tricks that we know to boost sales? Well, I don't think it's one of those things where obviously some people find that the kitchen sink approach works for them and they've tried everything and something has worked. But when it comes down to it, there are certain things that work a much higher percentage of the time, like getting people on your email list. And if you're looking for tips, bonus, extra crazy tips that will help you get sales, but you haven't tried building your email list yet, then you need to go back and do that. Jim, any other thoughts on that?
No magic bullet. We've talked about this a million times. We've done 112 shows There's no magic bullet. There's all the tried and true stuff you need to do. Getting an email list going is the number one thing, besides writing great books and great editing and great covers, and and getting a little luck thrown in there, as Conrath will tell you, and which I agree with. So just keep at it, guys. Keep out there, keep doing it, and you're going to be successful. Hopefully, one of the things that Brian's doing now is going to turn into the next big giant thing. So Brian, who knows? Maybe Brian's going to be the next Hugh Howey, right? We don't know. He could get so big he won't want to do the show anymore.
Oh, nah.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what'll happen. He'll be like, I have no time for the show. I'm going to have to get Daniel Martone to do the show with me. So,
don't put these delusions of grandeur into Daniel Martone's head.
Somebody wants me to waterboard the Falcon. So here we go. We're gonna play the Falcon. Wait, I gotta find the Falcon sound first. Well,
it ain't over until the Falcon's been waterboarded. That's what they say.
Waterboarded.
Oh my gosh! Scared Falcon sound.
Well, Brian, this has been a great show. However, all good things must come to an end.
I agree. I'm really glad everyone came out. We've had some really great participation today.
Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun.
Couldn't have done it without y'all.
And I was going to do a segment where I eat live on the show, like peanuts or something.
Mm-hmm.
Really annoying, but I decided against it. So you're welcome, Brian.
Yeah, I think that was for the best. And I didn't yell at you about your sound effects, so
no.
I tried to enjoy them. I tried to roll with it.
The best part about doing this live is everybody can see the angst in your face.
The constant angst of working with you.
I would do something like, yeah. It's very subtle. That little twinge in your eye, like when you play the sound effect, you're like, I could just like when I made fun of your cat.
My cat has lost weight.
Your cat can take selfies. Now,
my cat can take selfies.
I don't know why you didn't have your cat show us how to take selfies live on the show. That would have been really interesting.
Look, Rocket doesn't do things on command. Rocket just does.
Yeah, he's the star, right?
Rocket's a girl.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Rocket's a lady cat.
I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Well, Brian, we should wrap up, right?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Chrissy says, sure been interesting. And I agree. It's sure been interesting. And all of you guys who showed up, it's awesome. I hope you got a lot out of it. And we really appreciate all of you being here. We'll try to hit some more Patreon funding goals in the future so we can do more shows every quarter, all sorts of stuff. And we're going to try to get more lab segments, all sorts of interesting stuff going. And we'll probably post this episode on the show on Friday or so. And then so that'll be up, but we'll also have our regular episode up on Wednesday. So,
all right.
I'm excited.
Should we have the Falcon play us out?
All right, Falcon, come. Jim Kukral and I must go hunt for dinner.
Where is that? I see it coming. There's a shadow at the top of the screen. I see it.
Shadow's coming.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, everybody. Bye, Rocket. Bye, Brian.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
See you guys.